Vertical and horizontal reflections. All right, so with reflections, we are talking about the graph being reflected across one of the axes, either the x-axis or the y-axis. If we have a function f of x and a point on the graph, x naught comma y naught, if we take that function and we put a negative on the outside, this is going to be a reflection across the x-axis. Your point x naught comma y naught on your original graph of f is going to change to the point x naught comma negative y naught, i.e. what's happening is your y value is just changing sign. That's it. Yep. I'll just duplicate that. So what we're looking at for a reflection across the x-axis, that's going to be something like if you had this parabola, which of course it didn't like. Let's say you had this parabola here, a reflection over the x-axis is going to be, just imagine if this were a mirror, all right, this just mirrors directly down. Just a complete reflection over the x-axis. On the other hand, if you have a negative on the inside of your function, f of negative x, this is going to be a reflection over the y-axis. So your original point x naught, y naught, that will get translated to the point negative x naught, comma, y naught. So y stays the same, but x changes sign. For this one, let's go ahead and imagine we have this like sideways parabola here, reflecting this guy about the y-axis, pretending the y-axis is a mirror. Would look like, boom, that. Right. This first one, reflect over y. This is a reflection over x. Oh man, did I say that backwards? I may have said that backwards. This is a reflection over the y-axis because the y-axis is looking like the mirror. This is a reflection over the x-axis. As a small note, this right here is called a vertical reflection. And this guy here is a horizontal reflection. This can get a tiny bit confusing because the vertical reflection reflects over the horizontal axis. And the horizontal reflection reflects over the vertical axis, which is the y-axis. So it's a tiny bit confusing, but don't you worry, we're gonna talk about it. So we're going to take a base function. This is the square root of x. This is our base function. And we're going to do both. We're going to do a vertical reflection and we're going to do a horizontal reflection. The square root of x has a point at 0, 0, 1, 1, 4, 2, 9, 3. No. Good enough. No, it's not. Beautiful. Right, so we have the point 0, 0. We have the point 1, 1, 4, 2, 9, 3. For this first one, there's a negative outside of our function. If I rewrite this, this would be negative square root of x. The negative out front means we're reflecting across over the x-axis. It means that all the y values are going to change. They're going to change sign. So 0, 0 is going to stay in the exact same place. 1, 1 will become 1, negative 1. 4, 2 will become 4, negative 2. 9, 3 will become 9, negative 3. And you can see here how this is just a perfect mirror of what's going on here. This point 2 units away from the x-axis. This one's 2 units away from the x-axis. So each of these points are just being directly reflected over the x-axis. They're maintaining the same distance from the x-axis, but from a different angle. That is reflected across the x-axis, over the x-axis. If that negative is on the inside, that would be square root of negative x. See, that negative's on the inside this time. That's going to be a reflection over the y-axis. That's going to be our x value flipping sign. We're using all of these same points. But instead of flipping the y value, we're going to flip the x. So 0 isn't going to move anywhere. 1, 1 becomes negative 1, 1. 4, 2 becomes negative 4, 2. And 9, 3 becomes negative 9, 3. So I have 0, 0. I have negative 1, 1. I have 4, 2, negative 4, 2, and negative 9, 3. Okay. For these guys, you can see how that mirroring action is happening. This point here is 4 units away from the y-axis, and its mirrored point is 4 units away from the y-axis. This point here, 9 units away, 9 units away. So that's all that the reflections are doing. They're just flipping the x or the y values. So summary here. Give me a sec so I can copy and paste what we have on previous pages. All right, so this is stuff we've talked about previously. Vertical shifts, those are adding or subtracting outside the function. Horizontal shifts are going to be adding or subtracting inside the function. Vertical stretches and compressions are when you have the function and you multiply on the outside by some value. If that number is bigger than 1, it's going to stretch. If that number is less than 1, 1/3, 2/5, 1/4, that's going to compress the function. For vertical reflections, I just copy and pasted these from up above. Vertical reflection is reflecting over the x-axis. It's when you have a negative on the outside of the function, and it only affects the y value. It changes the sign on the y value. Horizontal reflections are reflections over the y-axis. That's when you have a negative on the inside of the function, and it only affects the x value. It changes the sign on the x value. These are all of the transformations that we're going to talk about. We are now going to put it all together and do a bunch of transformations at once, but that will be for a different video. Thanks for sticking around. Check me out in the next one. Bye.